So just to give an overview of what we'll talk about today. Our agenda will be a brief overview of the CUNY Network for College Success, our origin story, go over some different components of the network and resources that you will have available to you as members of the network, both as CUNY campus staff and CBO or school staff. Go over our data share program and cohort model, and then at the end I'll be open to Q&A. This session should not go over 30 minutes, so if you have other things for your day, this is going to be a really brief orientation. So the network was formed in 2018. Preceding the Network for College Success was a program called CUNY Strive for Success, which was implemented in 2014 to provide support to CBOs who had students who were at the CUNY community colleges. The Strive for Success program also had implementation of a peer leadership model. And so there were college students who were in their second year at the community college level who would support the incoming freshmen at those CBOs and be a thought partner and share information with those CBOs to help the students successfully persist within their first year within the program. And so in 2018, Strive for Success was disbanded and the CUNY Network for College Success was created in August 2018 under the leadership of Rebecca Beeman. And so the network works with both the 2-year and 4-year colleges within CUNY. And again, we continue to be a space to share policy updates about what is going on in CUNY, and be a thought leader as we move forward in this field work of getting students towards graduation. There are some things that have shifted a little bit as a response to COVID-19 and a lot of the work being remote. However, we are still planning to have our citywide events. Our first event that we will kick off the year with on October 1st is the Innovation Summit in collaboration with the Graduate NYC team. We're continuing to hold space for professional learning communities. A campus-based meetings is where we schedule a meeting for one particular campus, and they're able to bring representatives from different departments to share what is going on within those campuses. So we plan to also maintain that event via a virtual platform. We also have a newsletter and listserv, which is probably how most of you found out about this orientation. So our newsletter, also has fluctuated. It used to be monthly, but depending upon the frequency in which we receive different updates and events from CUNY, sometimes that shifts to a special edition newsletter and or bi-weekly updates. And then our listserv is where we're able to share out different job opportunities that are happening within the field and also any immediate information or events that we want to make sure that you all understand our opportunities. Then our last component is our student level data share, and I will go more in depth with it later on in the presentation, but it's basically a partnership we have with success programs who are providing one-on-one advising for students to help with their interventions and advising support they're able to produce for students who are at CUNY campuses. So if you are a staff member for CUNY, I want to know how your involvement can be within the network. We would love for you to be engaged to help us host campus-based meetings. We are open to you all continuing to share different updates around slots that are available within opportunity programs or other support programs, so we can make sure our partners are helping their students to get connected to these different resources. And then also, we would love for you to become a campus champion. Our campus champions are basically a source of contact within that CUNY campus. So if our partners are struggling and they can't reach anyone at the financial aid office or advising or enrollment, if you have those contacts on your campus, you're basically kind of serving as a person who can either answer questions or get us connected to someone on that campus for our partners. And so this is some basic feedback around our impacts thus far. Currently, we have 88 community-based organizations that are a part of our network. Not listed here are all the immense number of school counselors and charter school counselors who are also connected to the network and engaged with our listserv and our newsletter. All 18 undergraduate CUNY campuses are involved with the network. We have over 600 professionals who are actively engaged within the network through our listserv, through our newsletter platforms, and over 14,000 students have been impacted through our data share process with our 25 partner organizations. So if you're interested in learning more about the data share, the first step is eligibility. So for the CBOs to be eligible, they must conduct one-on-one individual counseling with students. The information that is shared through the query reports are meant to be for persistence advising and to help them to guide students to the resources that may be helpful for them. The organization has to sign an NDA at the beginning of the process, and it must have FERPA waivers on file for each student who will be participating in the data share that they will have on file within their organization. The second part is data coding. The CBOs will send us a list of the students that they want to be a part of the data share process. We're able to code them within the CUNY First system so that they are matched with that particular organization. And at the end of the semester, we're able to run a query report that will give them information about the student's academic progress for that term, as well as up to that point at CUNY. So some fields that are shared within our query reports, as you see here, the campus enrollment, their degree, that they are pursuing, the credits that they have attempted and or have completed, their proficiency milestones, and if they are a part of any of the support programs at CUNY. And so for the fall 2020, the timeline for our data share by September 24th is when organizations have to have their signed NDAs sent in to me. By October, I will send out a roster template for that organization to submit their students they would like to participate for the fall data share. By November, by November is when the organizations are to send in their rosters of their students and making sure that they have FERPAs on file for all of those students. In December, we're internally work on our end to match the students, code them within the system, and start to generate the reports so that they can get sent out to all CBOs by mid-January. We're also able to now do a graduation query. So it helps the CBOs to confirm students they believe should have graduated that semester. They can double check with our list. And if not, they can check in with the students to see if maybe there was issues with their credit accumulation or what may have went wrong that they were not graduating within the term that the organization believed that they would. And then the last part, the asterisk at the bottom, in the midst of all of this, we also host data-related sessions. Last spring, we had our first diversity, equity, inclusion, and data conversation series where we talked through implicit and explicit bias, the role that data plays in a lot of the work that we do, funding, all of those things. And we're looking forward to continuing that conversation for next spring if we're able to get it all funded and find a facilitator to bring us to the next level of the conversation, which is anti-racism in data. So keep your eyes and ears open for that information. Now I will open it up for Q&A and stop talking to hear what you all may have to say. So it's a small enough group that I believe we can manage. You can unmic yourself and ask a question. Do I take this as a sign that I was absolutely clear and there are no questions to be asked? Or if you don't want to unmic, you can also put your message in the chat and one of my fellow colleagues will be able to relay that to me.
I have a quick question.
Yes,
Is
JR.
there, is there a template or like guidelines for what certain language needs to be in the waiver that we ask students to sign?
Yes. So within the NDA is an exhibit of the FERPA waiver. And so within that, it documents all the points that would be shared from the student, from CUNY to you all as a CBO. It also has the language in order for the student to absolutely understand what they are waiving and the information that will be shared on their behalf within the data share process.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay.
And Latikwa, there was another question about where they can access the NDA. So I just messaged,
yes,
can send that out after the orientation so everybody has access to it.
Oh yes, for sure. So if you're registered, I could send up a follow-up email with that document. And if you are interested in being a part of the data share in your organization hasn't previously been a part, please message me so that way I can conduct a one-on-one meeting and make sure that it's a good fit and we can move forward from there.
And there's another question around digital signatures like DocuSign. So the actual NDA, JR, is signed by your organization. So any, executive or administrator at your organization can sign off on that. And then the actual FERPA waivers, those are totally up to your organization. You keep those on your end. How the NDA reads is that you must keep them on file and be able to produce them if CUNY asks for them, but we're not asking you to send them to us. You actually just check off on the student Excel file that Latikwa sends out that you have a FERPA on file for the individual students.
Mm-hmm. Are there any other questions?
Are there any brand new organizations on the call who are hoping to become part of the data share but haven't been in the past?
Yeah, so hi, Latikwa, hi, Rebecca, it's great to see you guys. I switched organizations, and so I want to bring on, I have two of my advisors here. I want to bring the organization into the network.
Okay. Yes, so there is a sign up for your organization to join the network. And that way we will have all the contact information. And if there are individual staff members that you would like to have included on the listserv in the newsletter, just send me their emails and I can subscribe them to that so they can receive those messaging themselves instead of you having to send it out to your network.
Is it the Google form? I think I filled it out.
Yes.
And that's why we got the information for orientation, but I want to make sure that we're signed up for, the data share was like instrumental at my previous organization. And so I want to make sure that we're signed up for that.
Yes. So email me directly, and that way we can schedule an individual organization conversation.
Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Latikwa, is it possible for you or I guess other members on the call to share out best practices for a FERPA collection?
So because we are virtual, that may shift. I would say check in with your organization to see what the policies and protocols regarding these privacy documents, what platforms you all are able to use, whether DocuSign is the best signage platform that you're using in regards to like how you're going to store these FERPAs, since they're not going to be on on file in your office potentially. If you are using any platforms like ShareFile, which is like a private folder and document sharing platform, which is what we would use within the data share process. Each organization that is a data share member will be assigned their folder, and one person would be able to manage that. And that's how we would send the reports to you all through that private platform. So checking in with your organization to see kind of how you're able to share and or store the FERPAs within your organization. And if you are using like a PDF that has a fillable version, you're able to take the template that is in the NDA and modify for whatever works for your particular organization.
Yeah, I think some practices that other orgs have used is if they already have a FERPA waiver that they require students to sign off on when they're supporting them as they transition to college, they're kind of plugging in the language from the FERPA waiver that's in our NDA and including a line about like however long that they're attending CUNY, this FERPA would cover them. How the FERPA in our NDA is written, it's really just a 1-year FERPA, so it does require the students to sign off yearly. So if you create one on your end that kind of covers them for the extents of the like period that you would be serving them, it'll just be a little bit less work on your end.
I see the chat is abuzz. Thank you, Anna, for asking that question. Any other questions? So again, the network is a two-way process. So if there are any opportunities at your organization, any events that are in the field, conferences that you feel will be valuable to the network, feel free to send that to me and I'll be able to share it out through our listserv. Also, just recently got permission to create a CBO specific listserv. So in the past where I might have been hesitant to send things out to the larger listserv because we do have our CUNY partners also on that and not trying to inundate your inbox with a lot of things. Now I have that CBO listserv that I look to activate. That way I can share even more opportunities that are CBO facing with you all. So look forward to that this year. And so Rebecca has included in the chat the RSVP of registration for our Innovation Summit, which is our first event on October 1st with Graduate NYC. And the Innovation Summit will highlight programs from the CCIF innovation projects, which are projects that were created to help with student persistence. So those will be highlighted. In addition to that, we were able to get a few CBOs to share some of their success work and what has been helpful with transitioning to remote learning and helping the students with advising and outreach. So they'll share some of those tips at the Innovation Summit as well. So I plan to update by the end of this week the breakout session, so you'll be able to select which ones you feel will be a good fit for you to attend. And then also included just now in the chat is some of the resources that we've gathered over these past several months, which are now living at the Graduate NYC resource page. So any of our past forums regarding enrollment, the transfer, exploration tool, all those things live on Grad NYC's website. Okay. So you have a few more minutes in case there are any other questions, thoughts. I'm okay with silence, so I'll give you all time and space to live with that. Right. So if there's not anything else, feel free to email me again. If you or any of your colleagues need to be added to the listserv or the newsletter, if you are or your organization are interested in joining the data share, please email me. That way I can schedule a one-on-one meeting before that September 24th deadline for the NDAs. And I'll follow up this meeting with a copy of the NDA document so you can see if those things are in alignment with what your organization is able to commit to as a part of the data share process. If nothing else, we look forward to seeing you on October 1st at the Innovation Summit. Look forward to some amazing programming